The cafe was buzzing with its usual morning crowd when Emily, a young waitress with tired eyes but a kind smile, hurried between tables balancing trays of coffee cups and muffins. She had been working here for almost 2 years, saving every penny to help pay for her younger brother's college fees. Life wasn't easy, but she carried herself with quiet dignity, never letting her struggles overshadow her warmth toward the customers. To most, she was just the girl with the friendly smile, who remembered their orders by heart. But deep inside, Emily was weighed down by the constant worry of overdue bills and the gnawing fear of never getting out of the cycle of poverty. That morning, a man sat in the corner booth, a man who didn't seem to belong in the modest cafe. His suit was finely tailored, his watch gleamed with quiet sophistication, and his demeanor carried the calm confidence of someone used to being in control. Yet, there was something different about him. He wasn't loud, he didn't demand attention, he sat quietly, sipping his coffee as if lost in thought. Emily noticed him briefly but thought little of it. To her, he was just another customer. But fate has a way of weaving the extraordinary into the most ordinary moments. When Emily was cleaning the booth after the man left, she spotted something under the table. At first, she thought it was a piece of costume jewelry, maybe some trinket a teenager dropped. But when she picked it up, her breath caught in her throat. It was a ring. Not just any ring, but a dazzling diamond ring that shimmered even in the dim cafe light. The stone was enormous, clear, and breathtaking. She had never seen anything like it. Her heart raced. She looked around quickly, but the man was gone. The cafe doors had already swung shut behind him. Customers were still chatting, oblivious to the treasure in her palm. Emily clutched it tightly, her mind whirling. This ring had to be worth a fortune. For a split second, the temptation clawed at her. What if she kept it? Selling it could pay off her family's debts, secure her brother's education, maybe even change her life forever. Who would know? It wasn't as if the man left his name. But then, Emily thought of her late mother's words, the ones she had carried since childhood: what you choose in moments of temptation defines who you truly are. Her chest tightened, and she knew what she had to do. Emily rushed outside, scanning the street. The man was already halfway down the block, his stride purposeful. "Sir." "Excuse me, sir," she called, running after him. He turned, startled, as Emily held out the ring, her hand trembling. "You dropped this," she said, breathless. For a moment, the man simply stared at her, his eyes widening with shock. Then, slowly, he took the ring, his expression unreadable. "Do you have any idea what this is?" he asked softly. Emily shook her head. "Just that it didn't belong to me." The man's lips curved into a faint, almost bittersweet smile. "This ring belonged to my late wife. It's the last piece of her I carry with me. I thought I'd lost it forever." His voice cracked, and Emily felt a lump form in her throat. They stood there for a long, heavy moment in the busy street. To Emily, it was simply returning what wasn't hers. But to him, it was restoring a part of his soul. The man introduced himself as Richard Alden, a name Emily didn't recognize. But later, she would learn he was a billionaire entrepreneur, known for his ruthless business deals but also for staying away from the media spotlight. To Emily, though, he was simply a grieving man clutching onto the memory of his wife. Richard invited her to sit with him at the cafe, curious about the girl who had chosen honesty over desperation. At first, Emily hesitated. She still had tables to serve, but something in his eyes urged her to sit. And so, over cups of coffee, they spoke. She shared bits of her life. Her brother, her struggles, her dreams of one day opening a little bookstore cafe of her own. Richard listened intently, more than most ever did. But then came the hidden secret. Richard leaned in, his tone lower now. "Do you know why I carry this ring everywhere? It's not just to remember her. It's because I've been searching for someone worthy of a chance, someone who reminds me of her kindness, her integrity." She always believed that the smallest acts of honesty could ripple out and change the world. "And you, Emily, you just proved her right." Emily was stunned. She didn't know what to say. Richard went on, explaining that he often tested people in small, subtle ways, leaving behind something valuable to see what they would do. Most returned it, but without thought or sincerity. Few understood the weight of what honesty meant. Emily wasn't just returning a ring, she was returning hope. Over the weeks that followed, Richard kept coming back to the cafe. Sometimes, he ordered coffee. Sometimes, he simply sat and talked with Emily during her breaks. Slowly, a bond formed, not one of romance, but of mentorship, of trust, of two souls who had found in each other what they were missing. Richard, true to his word, revealed another secret. He had established a foundation in his wife's name, dedicated to helping young people with dreams but without means. And he wanted Emily to be the first beneficiary. He offered to fund her brother's education fully and even help her open her bookstore cafe. At first, Emily refused. It felt too much, too unreal. But Richard looked at her firmly. This isn't charity. It's an investment. In you. In kindness. In what my wife believed in. Tears welled in Emily's eyes as she finally accepted. For the first time in years, she felt the crushing weight of her struggles lift. Months later, a little cafe bookstore stood proudly on the corner of a busy street. Inside, shelves brimmed with stories, and the air carried the scent of fresh coffee. At the counter stood Emily, her smile brighter than ever, welcoming customers not just as a waitress, but as the owner. Her brother visited often, studying for his future. And on the wall behind the counter, framed in a simple wooden case, was a photograph of Richard's wife, with a plaque that read, "In memory of those who believed kindness changes everything." Richard visited often, proud and quiet. He never made a grand speech about his wealth or generosity. To him, seeing Emily's dream come alive was enough. And to Emily, the lesson was clear: honesty may not always bring immediate rewards, but it plants seeds of trust, hope, and miracles in ways we can never predict. Her story became known in the community. People spoke of the waitress who returned a diamond ring and, in doing so, discovered not just a hidden secret, but a new life waiting for her. And Emily would often look around her cafe, at the people chatting over coffee, at her brother laughing with friends, at Richard sitting quietly with a book, and whisper her mother's words once more: "What you choose in moments of temptation defines who you truly are." Sparkling Heart final note to viewers: if this story touched your heart, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe small acts of kindness can change lives? Share your experiences below, I'd love to hear them. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. This is Be Kind Always, reminding you that even the smallest choices can make the biggest difference.